and had a great race car yesterday. So can't wait to get it started.
Jeff, you mentioned the fact that you love Bristol. Bristol loves you. 5 victories here in your career. What's the magic of this track? What makes this different?
You know, it's changed a lot over the years, and we haven't won in the new configuration. But what has me so excited about this weekend is how good we were the last time we were here. We really had a car that could win this race. Didn't get off pit road due to some of the pit road rules that they had at the time. And so they fixed all that. So now we've got same pit stall. I think we're going to have different results on pit road, and we've got a very similar setup on the race car, and it was very good yesterday. But you know, this track is the one thing that it's always had in common is just that high speed, high bank, a lot of action, and as a driver, you just really have to attack the corners and the competition. You have to really go for it, which always creates a lot of action, so the fans love it. Always creates great racing, and you know, from a driver standpoint, just a lot of challenges. So it's we all grew up on the short tracks, so we love the short tracks, and there's just not enough of them, you know, on the circuit these days.
Between here and Martinsville, you ought to just move the family up here and go back. You got 12 victories.
Well, I'm not far from here, so I drove up on Thursday. It's only about 3 hours. Weather prevented me from flying up, so I just got in the car and drove up, which was a nice ride up through the mountains. But and I'll do the same for Martinsville probably. So you know, these two tracks, yeah, they're great tracks, and they're totally different, complete opposites when it comes to short tracks. One being very flat, the other one being high bank, but we love them both.
It's very interesting to see the reaction of fans to the fact that you're driving the number 24 Drive 10 Hunger car. We've got Chase Credit Card Services with us today. They've made a commitment to Drive 10 Hunger. What's it like driving for a cause, not a product?
It's really very cool and very inspiring for me to be able to represent a cause. You know, especially now getting to learn, you know, more than 9 million older Americans that are dealing with hunger issues and all the difficult decisions that come along with it. You know, I've always done a lot for children and you know, with the Jeff Gordon Children's Foundation, but I'm so thankful to Drive In Hunger to introduce me and the rest of you know, the country to a very, very important cause, and one that, you know, I've really become attached to. Getting a chance to go visit the food banks around the country that are doing such incredible work, the volunteering, and just everything that it takes to, you know, bring the food together and get it distributed out to those older Americans that really truly need it. And it's an amazing process. So you know, I'm so thankful for every level of it, and then getting to meet and come face to face with those that are in need of that food. And so it's really been the last couple of years, you know, I guess, you know, starting last January, February, it's been an education, and it's been, you know, something that I've really taken on, and that I love being able to get in front of people and tell them, you know, about, especially those like you that are helping to support it, to realize just what a great cause it is. And having Chase, we have the folks here from Chase, to get them on board, you know, and for them to recognize how important it is too. So we have them on board for 5 races this year, and that's what this program is really all about. It's about awareness. It's obviously about raising the funds that it takes to support the local food banks and get the food, you know, to those that are dealing with hunger issues. And we can't do it alone. I can't do it alone. We need all the fans, but we need corporate sponsorship as well to really make this program, because it's not just about feeding those folks, it's about ending hunger. It's about really, you know, being able to put a program in place that can be funded long term, that's sustainable, where these numbers just continue to go down to one day it's 0.
You mentioned the fact that you can't do it alone, which automatically takes us to the team. You had your first season last year with Alan and with his crew. You've made some very strong comments about what a great partnership that is, what the communication is like. Let's forget about Daytona for a minute. I think we all want to forget.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
It was an unforgettable race for many, but it was pretty forgettable for me.
Yeah. The only thing worse would have been if you would have been driving the drive. You started as
I
finished.
would have had a racing fire suit on, by the way, and a helmet.
What's the relationship like with you and Alan? How does that develop?
It's great. You know, Alan he's just such a rock star. You know, when it comes to crew chiefs and guys that, you know, especially in today's world race and what it takes to be a top crew chief, he's the man. I mean, he's sharp. He's not afraid to take chances. He's great with the team and the people. It just doesn't get any better than Alan. You know, I feel tremendous pressure, which I like, because I don't like to let people down. But you know, I feel tremendous pressure because I know how good he is, I know how good our team is, and I know how good our cars are. That if we're not up there competing for wins, that you know, it's usually something that I could have done better. And that's the way I like it to be. You know, I like that pressure to be on me, because that keeps me motivated, keeps me pushing hard, and working very closely with the team to make sure that we're getting the results that I know we're capable of.
You speak of the car, and one big change this year is electronic fuel injection. How's that changed, if it has, the way in which you approach a track, the way in which you approach preparation? Yeah,
you know, so far it's been pretty flawless. You know, things have gone very well for us. And I credit Hendrick Motorsports and our engine department how efficient that they are. You know, Tony had the issue, which is a Hendrick engine at Phoenix. But and so we learned from that. We have these circuit breakers and fuses, and one popped on him. So we've learned from that. Luckily, it didn't happen to us that day either. It could have very easily. So anytime you add that much electronics to it, there's things that can go wrong. So that's the thing that we're trying to get through. As far as the power of the engine and how it runs and drives, and once we're at the racetrack, and as long as the engine's, you know, not having any electrical problems, then we're just focused on the car like we always have been, and it's gone pretty flawless. But there's always that little thing that can reach up and surprise you. And we've had a couple little glitches, but for the most part, it's gone very smooth. But you're going to see some issues as the year goes on with it, and I hope we're ahead of it instead of behind it.
Can you talk a little bit about the 2013 car? I know you've seen it, driven it, had the opportunity to touch it. What's the difference that you see coming up?
Well, I haven't driven it. Casey Kane's the only one in our camp that's driven it so far. It's an awesome car. I must say, I'm really excited about getting the 2013 car. I really credit the manufacturers and NASCAR, and more so the manufacturers. I think the manufacturers said, you know, we need to have you know, a car that's more relative to what we're building. And you know, NASCAR, I think, was wanting the manufacturers, you know, get more involved. We don't want to, you know, you to pull away from the sport. Want you to be more involved. They said, fine, give us a car that you know, looks like a street car, and one that performs well as well. And so they've come up with a pretty awesome race car. And so I don't know what we're going to call it yet. Chevrolet's still waiting to introduce the 2013 Chevy Sprint Cup car, but I've seen it. It's very cool looking. You know, just the details, the lines. You know, some of the wind tunnel testing's been good, and from what I heard from Casey, that, you know, the testing went well. So I can't wait for when we can talk more about it and we can get it introduced, because I think it's going to be a really cool race car and street car.
You mentioned Casey. Your garages are next to each other in Charlotte. What is it like bringing him into the fold with the Hendrick Motorsports team now? Yeah, no, Casey's great. You know, I've always been a big fan of Casey's. Of course, you know, we both have the dirt track and open wheel background, but he's just a good guy. Obviously, a great race car driver and very marketable. So, you know, when I put my owner hat on every once in a while. Lately, been having to do that a little bit too much with stuff going on with Chad Knaus, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. But with Casey, you know, he's the kind of guy that you want to have in your stable, and you know, can be very effective long term. And so I know it hasn't been the best start for them this year, but I know that that's going to get turned around, because he and Kenny, his crew chief, are very, very talented. Excellent.
Before a race is really magical, because he is such a great dad. Have you ever thought of this late night? You wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, gee, what happens when Leo asks me if he can get into a quarter midget?
Well, usually when I'm up at 2 a.m. it's because he's
Up anyway.
up anyway. So he is on my mind, but it's usually how do I get him to go back to sleep. You know, I think I had Ella the other day. I was driving her to school and preschool, and she said, "Papa, I want you to teach me how to drive a race car." And I was just like, "Where did that come from?" And it took me a little while to get it out of her, but she finally said because she wants to drive like Danica. So Danica mania is even in my house. So I've said this recently. Both of my kids are going to drive race cars. Now, Ella more than likely probably won't go on to race cars, and I may be surprised, but I'm going to put them in a race car. I mean, no different than I'm going to put them on a four-wheeler, or I'm going to put them on a tractor. I'm going to I'm going to take them to the park. I mean, I'm going to put them on a bicycle. A race car in my where I come from is just kind of part of life, and so they're gonna both experience that. Now, with Leo being a boy and loving cars already at such a young age, I would not be surprised if he gets attached to it and really enjoys it. But if they both do, then we'll see where we can take it.
I love the projection that Ella probably won't end up driving race cars. How many in here have daughters? Gentlemen only. Do you have daughters? I'm sure you've already learned this. The longest word in the English language, daddy. Yeah. If Ella wants to drive a race car, she'll
absolutely. She's got me around her finger already, so if she wants it, it's going to happen.
Exactly. When you go track to track, race to race, each one is different. The composition of the track, the positioning, and also the way in which the other drivers behave on that track. You've been around this game for a long time. Do you look out for different drivers from track to track, knowing that they're going to do better at a Richmond, or they're going to do better at a Bristol or at a Charlotte, because that's their kind of track?
I mean, what I would say is we typically will look at the scoring monitor during practice to see who's strong, and sometimes there are surprises, but typically you go towards the guys that you run well there, and you're looking at their times and you see where you compare. And you can go into a race week and go on, okay, these guys are probably going to be pretty strong. They were strong the last time. But it's all about gathering information. Most of the focus is just on our team, what we can do, what we did the last time, gathering information and notes, and as well as with our teammates, and figuring out how we can be faster. As good as we were the last time here, all of our teammates were saying, we're going to put the 24 setup in, this coming up Bristol. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and for us, we're not too far off of it, and it's working again. But to me, the competition is only relative when the green flag drops, and they're either hunting you down or you're hunting them down. It's the guy in front of you and the guy behind you, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, you're racing yourself and the speed of your car.
And your eyes and ears up at the top of the track, your spotter. The rules have changed in terms of radio connection now. We're going to do that in just a minute.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's the only reason you showed up. No, seriously. The rules have changed in terms of radio communication. How does that affect strategy? Because you're obviously operating within a team structure as well as the broader structure of the race.
Yeah, I mean, once a green flag drops at a racetrack like this, there's not much team stuff going on. I mean, you're not there to make their day tougher. You're not there to really make their day any easier. You're there. The teammate part ends on race day. When the race starts, unless you have a problem, and then you can maybe loan them some tires or something like that. We're once a green flag drops, we're all racing one another. And anybody that says any different is not telling the truth. But you know, when the thing is, you know, that a place like this, you know, communication is very, very important, and it's tough to communicate. Adrenaline's flowing, it's loud. You know, it's only a 15-second lap, 15 and a half second lap, or maybe 16 during the race, and so a lot happens in a hurry, you know, and pit road is very unique here. You know, you can miss pit road very easily here. You can go down the wrong pit road here if you pit under green, which I've done that before. And so, you know, a lot of things happen here that are big distractions that you really have to, you know, keep your composure and keep your focus. And then you have to have a good race car on top of that. That's how you're going to win here at Bristol.